Welcome to Jersey's Best Podcast, a weekly deep dive into everything that makes New Jersey spectacular, bizarre, beautiful, sometimes annoying, but always the best. My name is Jeremy Schneider. I'm a food and culture reporter for NJ.com and the Star Ledger, and I'm also your host. A quick reminder, please send episode suggestions, guest ideas, and questions our way at jerseysbestpodcast@gmail.com, and follow us at Jersey's Best Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. If you dig Jersey's Best Podcast, you're going to dig all the goofy stuff we're posting there. Trust me. Now, here at Jersey's Best Podcast, we are unapologetically proud of anything and everything Garden State related. We don't just tell people we're from New Jersey, we scream it from the mountaintops. Well, into microphones, same difference. Call it our mission statement. Call it a commitment to the bit. Call it whatever you want, just don't call me the native of any other state. I'm from New Jersey. But even the staunchest supporter of the Garden State would admit there have been some times where New Jersey has been kind of embarrassing. Comically over-the-top political scandals, cringy pop culture moments, animals escaping from Six Flags Great Adventure, even superintendents defecating on school property, which I was told time and time again while a student at Montclair High School I could not do. Double standards, people. Either way, there have been plenty of times New Jersey has not exactly covered itself in glory. This week, Jersey's Best Podcast is embracing the embarrassment and ranking the 10 most embarrassing moments in New Jersey history. Joining me to dive into New Jersey's shame is Sean Sullivan, a senior reporter on NJ.com's news desk, specializing in covering justice issues, investigative reporting, and now making award-winning TikToks. Sean, welcome to Jersey's Best Podcast.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. It's nice because I've been listening to the podcast and arguing with you in my car, and so it's good to be able to finally get a word in edgewise.
Now you can do it in real life. Please argue. Please tell me I'm wrong. The internet does it every single day, but I'm pretty sure I'm right when I say, Sean, you're not embarrassed to live in New Jersey, are you?
No, I call myself a New Jersey apologist, kind of a partisan. I did the Bruce Springsteen thing and fled the state because I got wanderlust, and I went to New England, and then I heard the shit they were talking, and I was like, can you believe this? So I came back.
Thank you for coming back. Thank you for standing up for us outside of our borders. We need it. We hear you, other states, and we don't appreciate it. But yeah, I think as New Jerseyans who love our state, and are very proud of the state, we can both admit this state can be kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's your buddy at the bar who's had a few too many drinks, and you're like I can't defend this behavior, but I gotta intervene here.
That's exactly what it is. And here's the thing: we're allowed to do it. We're allowed to. We're gonna talk smack about our friend, but if you're in another state and you're talking smack about us, you're absolutely wrong. There's nothing embarrassing here at all. But But among friends, among fellow New Jerseyans, yeah, that one time that politician did that thing with the gold bars wasn't such a good look for us, was it?
Yeah, it is a little bit hard anytime political corruption comes up. I mean, I get a little bit, I become a little bit of a homer in the other direction, where I'm like, you're not going to top our corruption. What, Illinois? Come at us. You haven't done anything good in years, Illinois.
No, we have the best bagels. We have the best pizza. We have the best political scandals. We're not just embarrassing. We're the best embarrassing. We're the most embarrassing. You can't take that from us. But there are some specific moments that are especially embarrassing. Sean, we've been discussing this a little bit in the lead up to this excitingly embarrassing episode. You had some pretty good suggestions. I got a few of my own. So let's get to it. These are the 10 most embarrassing moments in New Jersey history. We're going to take turns kind of taking a lead on these and going down the line. 10 is least embarrassing. Number 1 is most embarrassing. And embarrassment is subjective, people, but they're all really, really embarrassing, I think it's safe to say. Sean, I'm going to let you kick it off with number 10.
Okay, number 10 is the Hamilton Burr duel. I'm sure a lot of you guys have gotten an account of this from Hamilton.
Yes.
I want to start this by saying, I've covered politics for a long time, and we tend to look at the founding fathers as these like mythic figures. These guys were politicians, and so we shouldn't look at them like they had like these creation myths. We should, I study politicians like they're weird birds and bugs, and these guys were rich weirdos, and so. The Hamilton Burr duel is just a monument to the time that the founding fathers of our republic could not use their words and had to go have a shootout on the cliffs of Weehawken.
For the uninitiated, on July 11th, 1804, Vice President of the United States Aaron Burr and former Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton met in Weehawken to duel to settle a long-standing political rivalry. Burr shot Hamilton in the abdomen and killed him. It ended Aaron Burr's political career, basically. Ended Alexander Hamilton's career as well because he died. And it doesn't matter how many raps Lin-Manuel Miranda writes about it. It's kind of a tough look that not only did this happen, but they came to Jersey to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, both these guys had ties to Jersey, there's a lot of like just like the stuff about New Jersey that I just find really embarrassing. Like, Burr was just this rich nepo baby. Hamilton was, he was an immigrant, like a hustler, a striver, but the guy's obsessed with money and just talks mad shit. And that's really, I mean, the why of this is, we don't have time to get into the why of this, but the whole idea that these guys, the reason why they're dueling in New Jersey is because dueling's illegal everywhere, but in New Jersey, it's like you can get away with it. See, they row a boat across the river to go to the dueling grounds, which is now you can go visit there. They don't know exactly where it is, but there's a little monument. I call it Toxic Masculinity Memorial Plaza.
Make a plaque, people. That's fantastic.
The parking's no good, but you can go there and you can kind of get the view that they had and feel what it feels like to be a rich guy who doesn't face consequences for shooting another rich guy.
Can you imagine being in Jersey in 1804 and not only just seeing this happen, but then like they row back across the Hudson with Alexander Hamilton like bleeding out. I think he died like the next day. Mm-hmm. Tough way to go. And
I think all the other rich guys that were there like turned their backs or something. There's some mythology around this.
Plausible deniability.
Some very Jersey. I didn't see nothing.
I respect that. That's not embarrassing. No snitching. I don't see what happened. I didn't know what happened. Sorry, guys. Don't help the cops, even if it's the 1804 police who had much different guns, I assume. It's funny because this has now become kind of, I mean, like, I don't want to say like a point of pride because it's not, but like it has been romanticized by history, by Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, I took my girlfriend at the time to see Hamilton, and she broke up with me like 2 weeks later. And this was back when Hamilton was like Hamilton, when it was like the hottest ticket in the world. Tough look for your boy. I didn't feel quite like Alexander Hamilton that day, but it was close.
Yeah, I mean it's a funny story, but it's also just a reminder that politics was always like this. It's always just rich weirdos just having their own way.
It is kind of funny that I feel politics has gotten so crazy in 2025, and I don't really want to talk about it. But it's like, how crazy? Well, they're not going to New Jersey to shoot each other, so we got that going for us, which is nice. Also, we got number 9 coming for you. This is not the most embarrassing moment on the list. Obviously, it's number 9, but it might be my favorite just because it's so ridiculous. In June of 2011, a baboon escaped from the Six Flags Great Adventure Safari and was just hanging out in Jackson Township for a couple days. And in my research for this, I found a Star Ledger report, and there was no author on this, and I really wish there was because I'd like to thank this person for it. I'm just going to read this real quick because it was so good. Stacy Murphy was in her kitchen Friday morning when she glanced through the glass back door and caught a glimpse of 2 brown furry legs on the welcome mat. She assumed it was her neighbor's dog until she spotted the animal's bulbous red butt. I saw the infamous red hiney and I yelled, "Oh my God, there's a baboon on the patio," said Murphy, 42 of Buttonwood Drive in Jackson Township.
No, look, I don't want to get too inside baseball and talk shop about how you do journalism here, but this is what we call an anecdotal lead, and this one's really knocking it out of the park. This is
A+. Give it a Pulitzer. It's the most it's the most Six Flags Great Adventure shit ever. Yeah, we got baboons. Do we keep them in the bounds of the park? Not so much. The thing was just, I mean, I was talking to our editor before this. He was like, "Yo, you're laughing, but it was scary at the time. We were just a baboon just running around freaking Central Jersey or whatever we're gonna call Jackson." I mean, Six Flags is cool. It's a great theme park. We've talked about it plenty, and it's kind of awesome that they have all these animals. But it's pretty terrible that we can't, keep them in the bounds of the park.
I do love a good escaped animal story, and so I think we in the news business need to appreciate the folks at Six Flags for being here over the years. Turtleback Zoo too, thank you very much over the years to provide us hardworking journalists with new, fresh escaped animal stories.
I think that animal, I think the baboon was probably just looking for some pizza or something. It's like, I'm in Jersey, should get some of that Brooklyn Square. I don't think Brooklyn Square was open yet, but I wouldn't blame it if it went for it. The baboon, I wasn't able to find the name of the baboon. I hope the baboon's still alive and having a nice life. The baboon was caught. The baboon was caught 2 days later on a farm in Howell. He's like, "Yo,
he retired."
He's like, I had my run.
He almost made it.
My man bought the farm. I'm trying to think which farm it was, but man, that's Only in Jersey would you. It's not just. I mean, I guess I'm trying to think. Where would you expect to see a baboon in New Jersey? Nowhere, except for the zoo. But no, Jackson, New Jersey. Wonderful. Number 8 moment. The number 8 most embarrassing moment in New Jersey history takes us to Montgomery Township.
Now, this one I didn't know about because this has happened in the brief 4 or 5 year window when I was out of the state, and so I was very excited to learn about it, and I'm excited to hear more live on here because this is a great one.
Reading about this was a treat. On November 27, 2008, this was right around Thanksgiving, an alarm went off at the PNC Bank in Montgomery Township. Police came to the scene and saw what they believed to be at least one shadowy suspect through the limited visibility of drawn blinds. The SWAT showed up. Nearby apartments were evacuated. There was a standoff for hours and hours until they realized there was no one inside this bank. It was a cutout of a person. Police work at its best. Thank you for your service, but we don't have to worry about the cutout robbing the PNC Bank. They still don't know what triggered the alarm. This feels like the setup for a bad movie or something. Because I mean, I don't think shots were fired. I hope not, because they'd have to buy a new cutout. But man, not a shining moment for our boys in blue, huh?
Yeah, the only thing that upsets me about this is it doesn't seem to that anybody knows what the cutout was of. It seemed like it was probably just like a promotional thing in the bank. So there's probably some stock photo model somewhere who didn't know the public alarm that they caused. But I'm trying to think what movies were out in 2008. Like, could it have been like a promotional thing for Zoolander? Like
Blue stealing while the cops are staring him down, like, I'm robbing the bank. I'm betting it was just like something for a checking account or something. And no, this person wasn't robbing the bank. Well, this person wasn't doing anything. They were a cutout. But they were just trying to promote like a high yield savings account or something. And they had I feel bad for the cops. Imagine like spending your Thanksgiving, November 27th, I forget if that's not Thanksgiving, it's around Thanksgiving, but that's a holiday weekend, trying to relax, be with your family and stuff, and you're spending hours and hours, and it just turns out you're getting mad at paper.
Yeah. Yeah, I cover crime for a long time, and so you get kind of used to trying to wring good quotes out of like the dry language that cops use, so I just really appreciated this quote that I saw in the one story that, from the sergeant. Quote, "We didn't know we were going up against a cardboard cutout until we made entry."
That's a sneaky cardboard cutout right there. My goodness. I'd also love to think about like after the fact they like the cops saw it and they try to put a gun in the cutout's hand to be like, he did it. No cutouts were harmed in the process of this break-in or breakout, whatever. Sean, number 7's for you. You're gonna lead this one. Yeah,
number 7. Now, a little bit of preamble here. New Jersey has a storied tradition of do you know who I am? I have written about cops who were getting arrested for DWI and said I'm a fucking judge. We've written about Port Authority folks, pulling rank, all that stuff. But my favorite one of all time was when the cake boss got a DUI in New York and told the cops, "You can't arrest me. I'm the cake boss." So,
do you know who I am? Do you know what I bake?
So Buddy Valastro, for those who are uninitiated, is the cake boss, American baker from businessman from Hoboken, just across the river, and now a purveyor of fine cakes in rest stops on the turnpike.
What could be more Jersey than that?
But when he got a DUI in New York in 2019, he tried to sweet talk his way out of it. Very nice guy, friendly dude. Basically was like, what? I'm a nice guy. I'm the cake boss.
He's a real sweetheart.
Yeah. I almost missed that. I don't know if you can make. I'm picturing like he pulls out like a PBA card and then the cop bites into it and it's cake.
It's delicious. You can go. Better not be a rum cake. That was brutal. I haven't really. I don't know if I've ever been to Carlo's Bakery. I mean, I've walked by it 100 times, and I've heard tell of this man. And I guess shit, if you're the cake boss, that probably the sense of entitlement that comes with that. Because I mean, like, it's one thing to be a boss, but the cake boss. Like,
yeah, I mean,
a state that loves its cake.
And also, again, this is New Jersey, so we do have all kinds of bosses. You know, we have political bosses. We have guys who haven't been elected to anything and don't have a real job, and they're the ones calling the shots. So, you know, good on the NYPD for not cowing to the political pressure from the cake boss. You know, they did the right thing there, and that doesn't happen a lot these days.
My question is, if this happened in Jersey, I mean, because he's in New York, and look, we all know the people that live in Hoboken. I'm from the New York area, but
imagine you're the rookie Hoboken cop who pulls over the cake boss. That is the ultimate test. That is some Serpico level stuff.
What do I do? I'm never gonna get cannoli again if I arrest this guy.
I'm gonna be run out of town. I'm gonna have to go to Bergen County.
The best part of Jersey is we will. That could be the title of the podcast. The best part of Jersey. There's a lot of best parts, but I feel like if you go in Hoboken and mention Cake Boss, and Carlos Bakery, there are people like, it's not that good. I got a better spot on 4th Street. Like,
yeah,
we take pride. We take too much pride in this stuff, and there are some damn good Italian bakeries and just bakeries in general in Hoboken.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to deny the guy his flowers, but once you scale to the point where you're selling refrigerated cakes on the turnpike, there is going to be some sort of compromise in quality when you're at that level of scale. You're not mom and pop anymore.
You're spreading yourself pretty thin. Have you had the cake from the vending machine? How was it? I've
delicious.
seen it. Okay, it's good.
It's good.
No.
It's good. It's better than rest stop cake has any business being.
Which is saying a whole lot. I've spent a lot of time at rest stops in New Jersey for work and otherwise, and I don't know if I've ever had cake, but is it like a rainbow cake? I think I saw a rainbow cake there.
I mean, I feel like I got like a red velvet cake there, and it was it was on assignment, sort of like a 9 p.m. Sad decision, but I took it to go, and I've made worse decisions at turnpike rest stops. I mean.
So have I.
I feel like has there been a Roy? I feel like I had a bad experience at a Roy Rogers. But
I
don't even remember where they've been.
I've driven my ass to Roy Rogers just to rank their fish sandwich or something. This job is crazy. Another crazy moment, though. The number 6 most embarrassing moment in New Jersey history: the War of the Worlds in 1938. The War of the Worlds was a Halloween episode of the radio series The Mercury Theater in the Air. It was directed and narrated by legendary Orson Welles. This was an adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel The War of the Worlds. And the episode is infamous because it incited a panic. As Orson Welles was telling this story of Martians invading, people tuned in and thought that it was actually happening. And this is like a historical embarrassment. I feel like it's not just Jersey, but it happened here. And I mean, as I did research on this, the scale of panic was somewhat disputed.
It's debatable, yeah. But I think that this story could absolutely happen today, and it did when all the drones were going around. Like the panic that set in, and what happened here was people were hearing a radio broadcast, and there's debate over how many people actually heard it and freaked out. But a certain number of people heard this thing, thought it was the real news, and freaked out. And now the dude you went to high school with is sharing stuff on Facebook, and it's like, oh, the drones are a psyop, and it's the same thing. So the thing that's most embarrassing about this is that it could happen today.
I completely agree with that. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Absolutely.
If people started tweeting about an alien invasion right now, I mean, like, first there'd be TikToks making fun of it, and then there'd be TikToks saying it was true and that it was all one big conspiracy that they were trying to take over our pizzerias or something.
And there'd be one of those weird AI videos, but you wouldn't know that it's AI because it's got too many fingers, but it's an alien, so you don't even know how many fingers they're supposed to have.
I'm pretty sure I remember an Animaniacs episode that made fun of this whole situation, and might have been my exposure to what the War of the Worlds controversy. And
I mean, our generation learned a not insignificant amount of its history from the Animaniacs.
Absolutely, so. And frankly, I don't regret that. Number 5, Sean, is you.
Number 5. Oh, the time Bob Dylan got picked up by the cops. So this one is embarrassing for a number of reasons. So the background is that Bob Dylan was detained by police in Long Branch, New Jersey in August of 2009 when a young police officer failed to recognize him. The officer, basically what happened was Bob Dylan was playing a show in the area and went for a stroll. It was kind of like a dark and rainy night, not unlike like John Wesley Harding era Bob Dylan song. And he was sort of this shrouded figure, and he's like apparently ogling the local real estate. He sees like a for sale sign, so he's like checking out the house. I mean, we all do that when we go to the shore, right?
I can live here.
You're Bob Dylan. You're like, I could probably afford this. And a homeowner calls the cops on him. A young police officer. I mean, this is Shore Town. You know, a lot of these young cops, to her credit, knows who Bob Dylan is. But this guy says, "Oh yeah, I'm Bob Dylan. I'm playing a show down the road." She's like, "Okay."
Yeah, I'm playing a show. Going to Maxwell's for a hot dog. Terrible impression that we're gonna cut.
So I think rightly the cop looks and this is an approximation of the reaction. But okay, Grandpa, let's get you in the drunk tank. I mean,
this is embarrassing on so many levels. It's embarrassing for the person that called the cops. It's embarrassing for the cops. It's embarrassing for Bob Dylan, kind of, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's already got such a fraught relationship with New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Like, he wrote a whole song about the Reuben Hurricane Carter.
Great song.
Yeah, has he's got. I'm kind of rambling here.
No, that's what podcasting is. It has that relationship, but also, if there's anyone that wouldn't be embarrassed by this, it's probably Bob Dylan. I don't think he gives a shit.
No, yeah.
He's Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan never thought about that again a day in his life.
Probably happened in another state, too. Bob Dylan, who famously played by Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown, which was famously filmed in Jersey City. So we got another Jersey connection. My favorite part of that was a good movie, but it completely took me out of it because I was like watching the movie, and one of the opening scenes is on Jersey Ave. And I'm like, hey, it's Bob Dylan in 60s era West Village, but I know that pizzeria. It's not that good. Poor Bob Dylan. I saw Bob Dylan once play at Yogi Berra Stadium with Willie Nelson, and I yelled play the Hurricane, which some old guy smoking pot laughed at me when I did that. But
I actually saw him play in Massachusetts at the University of Massachusetts, and a very drunk kid yelled "Play Hurricane," and then a little bit later, after, because he now kind of does this thing where he kind of plays, like, rambles along, plays songs that sound, and then he just goes, "Play something I like."
Oh man, I'd see Bob Dylan was nominated for did he get a Pulitzer? He got some award. We'll probably cut this, but he refused to show up for the acceptance. That's Bob Dylan is a man that knows no shame. But frankly, if you call the cops on Bob Dylan or the cops roll up on Bob Dylan, you should be kind of embarrassed. Whatever you say about him, he is one of the most influential musicians of our time. Alas, number 4 is a big one. Embarrassing moments in New Jersey. This one had national ramifications. The Charles Lindberg baby situation. On March 1st, 1932, Charles Lindberg Jr., the 20-month-old son of American hero Charles Lindberg, was murdered after being abducted from his crib in the upper floor of the family home in East Amwell, New Jersey. The body was found by a truck driver on the side of the road in adjacent Hopewell Township. This situation was the span of the baby being kidnapped and the baby being found dead. It was called the crime of the century. The trial after that was the trial of the century. It had great ramifications for, like legally, as far as like federal laws for kidnapping and whatnot. And more than anything, it was a real tough look for New Jersey that one of the most famous babies in the world couldn't be kept safe by in our boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, this was an early embarrassment for the state police. I think they still feel the sting of having not been able to solve it, and then it leads to kind of a federal overhaul of how kidnappings are investigated to get the FBI involved sooner. But I think it also sort of shaped how It's also embarrassing because it shaped how media covered stories, covered crime at the time. And this was a horrific kidnapping of a child of a very wealthy, famous person, and so it got covered to the nth degree, and sort of created a panic, its own kind of panic, about the dangers of kidnapping. I mean, this was a rich guy. His baby was kidnapped for ransom, and then
out of his home. That's I mean, obviously this was freaking 100 years ago almost, but what a terrible feeling that must be.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of the most horrific crime imaginable. But it is sort of also the birth of true crime. Because it's this visceral story. Everybody can imagine their worst nightmare, and it happened to a famous person at a time where newspapers are proliferating.
And to this day, anytime a kid goes missing, whether it's in Jersey, whether it's somewhere across the country, the media runs with it. I say that as a member of the media who's probably written stories like this. But yeah, we as a society get really fascinated with this stuff, especially if someone famous is involved, and we will read about it, listen about it until the crime is solved or whatever.
Yeah, and again, it's a horrific thing, and it was something that deserved a ton of resources poured into it. But there were plenty of poor children that went missing that didn't get those resources, and also Charles Lindbergh was kind of a jerk.
Yeah, we were
Nazi
talking
sympathizer.
Yeah. Lindbergh is called an American hero because that's how we're taught about him. But as we were doing research for this, kind
of a Henry Ford type. Like, sure, he did a lot, but don't read the Wikipedia page too far.
The controversy page is really long. Man could fly a plane, but also had some questionable views. So. Doesn't change the fact that it's heartbreaking for the child. It also just occurred to me that I brought this up to a new father. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It hits me a little hard, but it was kind of like when I watched Interstellar right after she was born. I was like, bad idea.
I think that's the second Interstellar reference we've had on the podcast. Sean, number 3 is you, and this is a doozy.
Number 3, the Jim McGreevey "I am a gay American" scandal. Now, this was big news at the time. For those of you who don't remember, McGreevey was the governor of New Jersey from 2002 to just 2004. He was
short term.
Yeah, young, up and coming, talented politician. Also a guy who had a lot of hubris, as time would tell. And what happened was that he basically had an affair. He was married to a woman, had an extramarital affair with a man. And gave that man a Homeland Security gig. This was in the aftermath of 9/11. They created a new state Homeland Security office, and this guy got a plum post there. That became a scandal, and McGreevey, very, very smart from a media perspective, came out in front of it to a certain extent and said, yes, this happened. I am a gay American. I had this affair. I did this, blah, blah, blah. And, this was at a time when, America was still pretty homophobic. The Star Ledger won a Pulitzer for its coverage. I passed the front page on the way in here. Yeah. It says, McGreevey quits, admits gay affair, which now kind of sounds like he's leaving a party, but admits it's pretty baller. It's like a weird headline, but, it reflects the times. It was a real kind of stain on New Jersey, but I think it's also a telling story because McGreevey stages a comeback. He's still in the mix today in politics. He's probably going to text me about this and give me some shit about how I described what happened. But he's running for mayor of Jersey City. But I think it's an important point, and I'm not endorsing McGreevey as the politician today. His politics are his politics, but. At the time, he was sort of forced to go through a rehabilitation. There's a documentary made about him, and even if you look at it very cynically and say, well, this guy's just rehabbing his image, he went and worked with formerly incarcerated people, and kind of became like the de facto lobbyist for former prisoners, trying to get back up on their feet. You just don't see that today. Now, Bob Menendez just got convicted. He's already angling for a pardon. If he gets a pardon tomorrow, he's refiling his papers on Thursday. It's like.
I was 14 when this happened, and I was, young, old enough to be paying attention and stuff. And I think it's fair to say that this scandal plays a lot different in 2025. And
yes,
because McGreevey was not the first politician to have an extramarital affair. Won't be the last. The fact that it was he was coming out as a gay man became as much the story. And New Jersey's obviously a progressive state, and American opinions of of homosexuality are much different in 2025 as they should be. If this happens now, it's probably not a gay affair; it's just an affair, right?
Yeah, but if it happens now, that's like the ninth worst thing that a New Jersey politician did this week.
that is distilling it right down there. No, I walk by that headline all the time, and I'm like, damn, would we write that headline in 2025? I mean, maybe it's an award-winning headline, eye-catching headline, but it's this controversy. There's obviously so many New Jersey political scandals. We could do a whole podcast just on that. But this feels very of the time, of the moment, and one that would just be viewed differently with a different societal and social lens that we have now.
Yeah, 100%. Bring back shame. 2025, bring back shame in politics.
Speaking of shame, number 2, Snookie gets punched. Boom. So Jersey Shore was bound to come up, the MTV hit show that I admittedly didn't watch at the time. I was kind of, I felt like I was protesting. I was like, this isn't my state. This doesn't represent us, blah, blah, blah. Most of the people on Jersey Shore aren't even from Jersey. But I've since watched the whole show, partially for work and partially for fun. And the biggest moment we had it number 1 on our list of the most memorable moments in Jersey Shore history. Season 1, episode 4. The cast is out at a bar. The situation buys some shots for the housemates. A few drunk guys at the bar tried to take the shots for themselves. Snookie stands up and says, "Those aren't for you." And after that happens, a New York gym teacher named Brad Ferrero punched her right in the face. And it was kind of, the Jersey Shore was already a big show at this point, but that was a pretty galvanizing moment. It was, there's so much of that show is clearly curated and scripted, whether they admit it or not. There's no way they scripted for that. Snookie was seriously hurt; she could barely eat the next day. It kind of and it also kind of formed. Was kind of a bonding moment for the cast, because they did have this kind of weird dynamic when they were going out at Seaside and going to Karma and Beachcomber or whatever. And people that wanted to see them, people that wanted to yell at them, whatever. It became such a big deal they were there, and it's. It was sad to watch. It was very sad to. Frankly, Jersey Shore is embarrassing in its own right. It is. I'm sorry. I think we can say, as someone who has watched and enjoyed the shows, and I appreciate it. It is a part of our culture, but it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that, and it's especially embarrassing that a moment like this could happen. We talk about danger on the boardwalks in 2025. It's still happening.
I'll confess, I've never seen a full episode of the Jersey Shore, but I feel like I've absorbed the entire series through osmosis. And at the time, I was in college. At the time, I was going to the University of Massachusetts, Rutgers of the North, I was getting a lot of shit about the Jersey Shore. So I think I had a similar experience to you, that I'd never watched it. And then I just, never got around to it because I felt like just by working at NJ.com, it just kind of seeps into your pores.
You're welcome.
But this was a big story at the time, and it kind of reflects how a bunch of weirdos from New York came to typify the image of New Jersey for a decade.
They're not from, and I remember in college when this was on every Thursday, my friends, we were at Maryland, and my friends would turn it on, and we'd have parties, and I'd be like, I'm not watching this. This isn't my state. I grew up at the Jersey Shore, and yes, this culture, this party culture, this gym tan laundry thing. It is a component of the Jersey Shore, but it does not represent us. Yeah. And I think it's important that we can appreciate it and reflect upon it and put it in perspective, while also saying the Jersey Shore might be entertaining and hilarious. And when I do go to Seaside Heights, I like to walk by the store they worked at and stuff. But it is not our state, and it's embarrassing that some people look at us like that.
Yeah, I think to a certain extent it represents the worst. I always say that New Jersey is if you took America into Photoshop and just boosted the contrast all the way up, and they really are at the kind of leading edge of that. I don't want to. I want to take ownership of them to a certain extent, because that is also very New Jersey to create a playground for rich assholes from other states, right? That is also very New Jersey.
Completely.
Often at the expense of the folks who live in these communities.
Yeah. I didn't go out down the shore at that time, but I can only imagine what a shit show it was.
Oh, yeah.
And how hard. I remember reading. So when Bobby and I ranked the Jersey Shore moments, I had to do a crash course watching a bunch of episodes, which was a very weird way to spend a week, just sitting watching Jersey Shore, like mainlining it. And then I followed it up by reading an article, it might have been Variety or something, where they talked about just how isolated and insulated this cast is from the rest of the outside world, and how if you think watching a lot of it's a nightmare, living it has to be even worse. How they'd like come back from filming in Italy and they'd land and like as they're pictured at the airport, hey, you're filming the next season right now, go down to the shore. They've all gotten famous off this. They've all made millions. Snookie is one of the rare celebrities that goes by one name because she's Snookie, and she's so small and she got punched, and it's sad and embarrassing.
And that's why fame is a prison for the criminally insane.
Put it on a t-shirt. Sean, you have the distinct privilege of introducing the single number one most embarrassing moment in New Jersey history.
Yes, number one with a bullet, Bridgegate. I feel uniquely qualified to speak to this. I mean, I was still coming up as a politics crime reporter at the time, and so I wasn't really in the mix, but I was a victim of the traffic jam. I lived in Cliffside Park, New Jersey, which is right next to Fort Lee. I was going grocery shopping, and I was like, what is going on? It took like an hour. And so, ever since, I have felt like I am owed something, and I don't think that check's ever coming. But for those who aren't initiated, basically back in 2013, 2014 period, there was a mysterious traffic jam on the George Washington Bridge. This was not your regular traffic jam. This was a big traffic jam. This was, ambulances couldn't get through. There's some, in the aftermath, there's some debate over whether or not an old person here and a young person there died because of this traffic. And then several investigations were conducted, some of which drew varying conclusions. But basically what happened was some aides to Governor Christie ordered the bridge closed as an act of political retribution against the mayor of Fort Lee because he failed to endorse Christie. This was a Democratic mayor. This was a time where Democrats and Republicans alike are like falling behind Chris Christie. It's kind of the height of Chris Christie's power. And this one mayor, Mark Sokolich, will not play ball. And so they close the bridge in his community and just like collapse it.
So Bridget Ann Kelly famously on August 13th, 2013, sent an 8-word email to David Wildstein that read, "Time for some traffic problems in Fort Lee." And Wildstein responded, "Got it." And the traffic problems ensued. And this is insane on so many levels. It's just such it's so Jersey. It's so corrupt, and it's also so unnecessary, right? I mean, because like Christie was wildly popular. It's not like
he was running up the clock. Like he was just scoring points. He was good. That year he won a blowout against his opponent. He was fortifying his presidential ambitions, and so it was great to have all of these Democratic mayors endorse him because he's a bipartisan problem solver. And this is a side story, but I think it speaks to like what is most embarrassing about Bridgegate is what this came out that this was all about the Port Authority, which controls the bridge. It also controlled the distribution of steel from the World Trade Center, the wreckage of the World Trade Center in the aftermath of 9/11. And so around New Jersey we have all these monuments.
Yeah.
And so it came out during Bridgegate that the best steel from the World Trade Center, like the best
choice cuts,
the choice cuts of the wreckage from this horrific terrorist attack were given to the mayors who played ball. Like they got preferential treatment. So now anywhere you go and you look at a solemn 9/11 memorial in New Jersey, you have to think like, oh, that's pretty big. I wonder what they had to do.
Only in Jersey would we politicize a memorial for the most horrific thing to happen in this area in 100 years or whatever. It's pure political corruption, and for what? Like what was the end game here? What was Christie trying to get out of causing. And I also, I mean, I think you know this better than me. Did they expect it to be this much of an issue? I mean, like obviously they didn't think it was going to blow up and like ruin people's political careers or whatever. But did they think it was going to be as debilitating for Fort Lee? Because like
I think they did. I just think that they didn't. I mean, this is there's a lot of story about like the great journalists that went into figuring this out and breaking it. But this was not something. This is something that like probably it's an egregious example, but I bet there's worse examples that we've never heard of in government. And so I think they were kind of surprised because traffic is so common in Fort Lee that that they thought that they could send a message while having plausible deniability.
Like, oh, that's just how it goes there because it is poorly planned. And as someone who's been stuck in that traffic, Bridgegate non-related, it's infuriating on a normal day. But if you're actually enforcing it, that feels kind of inhumane.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's embarrassing. The act itself is embarrassing because it's like you're wielding traffic as a pestilence.
Yeah,
on
and
your
also
enemies.
I'm sure there are people that voted for Christie that were affected by this, and for what this didn't win you an election. This didn't get you anything other than it's frankly look. And Christie was a successful governor of New Jersey, long political career, but this is probably in the first line of his obituary, right?
Yeah, to be clear, Chris Christie was never charged in connection to any of this. There was a very expensive investigation that his office commissioned that found out, we investigated ourselves and it turned out we did nothing wrong.
Shocker. Wow.
So Chris Christie was never implicated in this. David Wildstein, his aide, turned state witness, said Christie knew all about this, testified to that in court. But unfortunately, down the line, people missed this during COVID. It happened during 2020. The U.S. Supreme Court basically threw out these convictions.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the biggest consequence of all this is that Chris Christie didn't get to be president.
Is that? I mean, do you think that's what?
I mean, it's anybody's guess how that would have fared. But there's a lot of people think that he was sidelined. Could have given Mitt Romney a run for his money. But that this was just too toxic, which is also kind of quaint because by today's standards, closing a bridge for to screw with the mayor. There's certain people in politics who want their politicians to do this. Yeah, we hate that guy, cause a traffic jam in his town. But it really had consequences for him. But the convictions themselves, they were thrown out. So we are in a post-consequence politics.
It is only fitting that the most embarrassing New Jersey moment in history would involve not only political corruption but traffic, because that's the currency in New Jersey. Just God, and it's another illustrious member of the Gate list. The Watergate, Bridgegate. Deflategate. I mean, Bridgegate is the ultimate gate in New Jersey, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it reminded me of my wife has a story. I've been a reporter 15 years, famously an anxious person, prone to talking in my sleep. And so one time I was having some sort of stress dream, and my wife was trying to call me, and apparently all I said was, "As long as it's not another Bridgegate." So that's what's keeping me up at night.
On that note. Sean, this was a lot of fun, pretty embarrassing, pretty cringy, but we embraced it, we accepted it. Before we let you go, though, we got to run you through the Garden State Gauntlet.
I'm ready.
Series of rapid-fire questions today. This is going to be very the way I wrote this is weird. Very Sean-centric. A series of rapid-fire questions that today will be very Sean-centric. Sean, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Where's your favorite place to go hiking in New Jersey?
Okay, so this is a little bit controversial because it depends on what you consider a hike. Does a hike require elevation? Because I am a huge proponent of the apologist of the Meadowlands, which is like the Jerseyest of the Jersey. It's where where the ocean meets the land. It's where New York meets New Jersey. It's where the garbage meets everybody else. And but it's a great habitat for migratory birds. DeCourt Park. I was just there the other day in Lyndhurst. Look it up on Google Maps. You're driving, and you're like, I think somewhere this is where they shot the scene in the Godfather. Take the gun, leave the cannolis. Or no, I'm sorry, the other way around. But
I always take the cannolis.
But yeah, my favorite spots are in the Meadowlands because I love where nature persists despite everything we've done to it.
We've talked about the Meadowlands a great deal on this podcast, and I'm glad to hear someone defend it. What is the most overrated New Jersey natural feature?
Ooh. This is a tough one. I'm going to say the beach.
Whoa! You heard it here
I
first,
was
people.
not prepared to come with such a hot take, but this is
Wow.
hyper specific, and it's just because I burn easily. I'm a big outdoorsman, but I love an SPF 50 long sleeve shirt. I love fly fishing in a creek where the sun will never touch me. So as much as I love New Jersey, and I love the culture of the boardwalk, and I do love swimming in the ocean, I cannot be there for more than 15 minutes. So. You can take it.
You're not alone. I can be there for. I'll take that time. Thank you. What's your favorite outdoor activity in New Jersey?
Again, kayaking in places that you should not be able to kayak. The Meadowlands is great. But also, if you can get in the Pine Barrens, going down the Batstow River, there's lots of really great canoeing and kayaking you can rent. And just kind of cruise down like a stream in the Pine Barrens, and then that's really where you forget that you are in civilization.
I love that. What is your favorite Thursday song? I know you're a big Thursday fan, rocking a Thursday shirt right now. Shouts to Jeff Rickley.
Yes, it's Thursday near and dear to my heart because I met my wife from Massachusetts, and the only reason I think she even considered moving to New Jersey is because her favorite band is Thursday, and that made the Turnpike cool by like transitive property, I guess. And so I want to say War All the Time, just because that came out at a particularly important time in my life, and also I think references the Palisades.
Yes,
right?
it does. Standing on the edge of the Palisade Cliffs. What is your favorite embarrassing moment in New Jersey history? We kind of touched on this, but of the ones we talked, or is there another one you have a favorite?
Okay, I'm gonna throw out another one because I honorable mention one I wanted to include in the Cake Boss thing was the United States of America versus Bruce Springsteen, which was
a great hat that I've been seeing a lot.
Yes, which if you don't remember, also a DWI case. Not that embarrassing just because Bruce didn't pull rank, but it is a little bit embarrassing just because he was like taking a shot of some like weird, and it's like that's like the worst of the worst, like being forced by some stranger to take a shot, and then and then you're buzzed driving and you get pulled over. It's like you got me.
Now that I think about it, Bruce Springsteen having that happen is way more embarrassing than Bob Dylan because you can plausibly deny knowing who Bob Dylan is living in New Jersey. If you don't know who Bruce is, you're full of shit.
But you shouldn't let Bruce go either.
I agree.
It's a lose-lose situation.
He kept it real.
Yeah.
Bruce kept it real. I respect that. Last one. What is the most embarrassing moment of your journalism career?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That's a good problem.
I'm gonna have to think on this one.
Absolutely. Hey, Sean did not see these questions beforehand, so I'm gonna give you the second.
All right, I got one. I'm not gonna name names here, but this is a fun story I tell all the time. I wrote a story about a whistleblower cop once, and those stories are always incredibly difficult. This is a cop who was trying to raise alarm about issues in his department, and was not being heard. Was trying to raise alarm with authorities. Was being allegedly retaliated against. So very serious story, very fraught fact-checking process. So those stories are always your kind of like the next day you're God, what am I going to get a call about? And I get the call from my source, and I referred to him in like the 11th paragraph as short and muscular. And he informed me that he in fact is 5'10", and the average American male is 5'10". I am also 5'10". I consider myself a short king. But
for a short king on the podcast.
It's just a reminder in journalism, you're always worried about what you're going to get wrong or who's going to be mad at you, and you're always wrong, but you did get something wrong and somebody is mad at you, but it's for a completely different reason.
Well said, Sean. This was a lot of fun. That's a wrap on this episode of Jersey's Best Podcast. Thank you so much to Sean Sullivan for joining us. Sean, where can people find your work? Where can they follow you, et cetera, et cetera?
You can follow me on Instagram at spsulliv. I think I'm on TikTok at the same name. Otherwise, you can Google me. I'm easy to find because I'm a reporter.
My embarrassing moment that I'm going to admit right now is that I called you SP for a long time. People are like, "Who are you talking about?" That's Sean.
Okay, I'll officially say this on the podcast. The byline is like a tattoo that you get when you're 18, and then you're like, I don't regret it enough to remove it, but I wouldn't do it again. There are a lot of Sean Sullivans in this world, and so it's good SEO, but you can call me Sean.
I will call you Sean from now on. Sean, thank you so much. Thank you to our audio producer, James Shapiro, our video producer, Dwayne Yazaro, our executive producer, Bobby Olivier. Thank you to Schmutzadells for our theme song. If you have any questions, episode ideas, guest suggestions, anything like that, email us at jerseysbestpodcast@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, leave us reviews wherever you get your podcasts. We're still new. We still want those reviews. We still want those subscriptions. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Smash that like button. And please consider subscribing to NJ.com. There's a link in our episode notes. New Jersey needs high-quality journalism, and our journalists need you. Tune in again next week for the latest episode of Jersey's Best Podcast. And remember, Jersey forever.